My only sister, living in the Hindu religion, however the days were, even if we were poor, during festivals, whether we had 1 rupee or 10 rupees in our pockets, whether it was Diwali or Raksha Bandhan, the festival of brothers and sisters, we would live very happily in our childhood. On Diwali, my mother used to buy new clothes for us by somehow saving 10-20 rupees. On the day of Raksha Bandhan, my mother would give me 5-10 rupees by selling one of the chickens in the house, so I could give it to my sister after she tied Rakhi. We grew up, and we must have been earning around 10-20 rupees when one day, out of nowhere, our sister converted to Christianity. For the past 5 years, we have only been waiting for Raksha Bandhan, when she would be with us. We waited last year too. We are waiting even today.
खूप खरंच दुःख होतं की अशी रक्षाबंधन भाऊ
It is very sad, and we pray that such days may never come in anyone's life. It has been almost 4 years. She hasn't tied Rakhi on our hand since she started going to the center. We asked her, "Why do you not tie Rakhi?" She responded that she has converted to Christianity and now only prays to Jesus. She says, "I celebrate Christmas like I would celebrate Diwali. I cannot celebrate Raksha Bandhan, Bhai Dooj, Diwali, Holi or Makar Sankranti. Now I celebrate only Christian festivals." This is very tragic. Words won't suffice to express our pain. On Diwali and Bhai Dooj, we look forward to her arrival. But now, our sister has gone far away from us. She does come sometimes, but I don't remember her spending even a single night with us.
For Vilas, conversion is a new word. He doesn't understand it like crores of others. What he cannot understand is that if all the gods are one, if all the religions are same, then why did his sister have to convert to Christianity? And why does she want to leave her brother, her family, the festivals and the customs of her old religion at any cost?
I find it very painful that Hindus don't understand the Christian mindset and what we mean by God. I grew up as a Christian, and already very early as a child I knew that I am very lucky because I am born in the right faith and I pray to the true God and the God loves me. And we have to pray for others who are not as lucky, and we have to bring them also to our faith, because if they don't come, they will be damned for all eternity into hellfire. In the Revelation, it says, unbelievers and idol worshippers are thrown into the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, something like this. It is, I think, in 21.8 in Revelation.
Gandhiji
has mentioned in his memoirs that when he was studying in high school in Rajkot, many missionaries used to stand outside the school and make derogatory remarks about Hindu society and their gods. Gandhiji has mentioned about a well-known Hindu in Rajkot who got converted, who was fed beef after conversion. This man completely stopped wearing Indian clothes and started to belittle the religion of his ancestors, their culture, and the country. This was Gandhiji's initial introduction to Christianity. He asked himself, what kind of religion is this which fills a person with deep hatred towards his ancestors, his native culture, and towards his own country? And what Gandhiji observed about conversion during his school days was recently evident during the Corona period, when a son in Gwalior refused to perform the last rites of his mother. That son was converted to Christianity and the woman was still a Hindu. He simply refused to perform the last rites in Hindu ways. Consequently, the deceased woman's granddaughter had to come from Jharkhand to perform all the last rituals. From this incident, we can understand what tragedies this conversion creates at a social level as well as at the family level.
The pain of Vilas is unbearable, endless. He doesn't understand what conversion is, what Christianity is. But now one thing he certainly knows, that there is an ideology in the name of religion that can destroy even blood bonds, can create fault lines which will never be filled. Vilas is still waiting for his sister to come back. Till then, his wrist remains bare and his hopes empty, devastated.
The worst part about conversion is the moment you get converted, the first feeling that you come in your mind or in your heart is the hatred towards your own community, hatred towards your own ancestors. You don't feel good about the way you live, the way the clothes that you wear, the language that you speak, or the dialect that you talk in your family. So this is the disconnectedness that happened. I think that is why I feel that conversion is a very act of violence. There are plans which has worked fine, and that is why if you visit Nagaland, if you visit Mizoram, you'll find 99% of people doesn't even know what actually their roots.
Sanjay suffered the venom of conversion very early in his life. Vilas might console himself and rationalize his tragedy, but for the child's heart of Sanjay, it was nothing short of a catastrophe. He lost his whole family to conversion and Christianity.
I was born into a Hindu Adivasi family. All the Hindu festivals were observed in our family. But my house started getting affected soon after my uncle converted to Christianity. He forced my parents that they too should accept Christianity. It left an impact on my entire family. I must have been in the 5th or 6th grade when my parents got baptized. After a year or two, my elder brother also got baptized, and Jesus Christ's teachings began to be heeded in our house. When I would come home for the vacations, I would see Jesus being worshipped at home. Initially, I would also join in the prayers, but as I grew old, I started finding it wrong. When I was in school, I had many friends. All of them had accepted Christianity. And those friends who had not accepted Christianity formally anyway had their thoughts centered around Jesus. They all have the lockets of Jesus Christ. Once my entire family, my parents, brother, uncle and aunt, everyone had gathered for a function when a discussion started. They asked me, "Why aren't you getting converted? Why are you not accepting Jesus?" They also tried to bribe me with job security and other such things. I got so angered by their blind persuasion that I declared, "You may do whatever. I will choose to die, but I will not accept Christianity. I will protect my culture by all means and will always have faith in it."
Conversion can be a very traumatizing experience for the family. Basically, somebody is divorcing his own religion, his old religion, and taking up a new religion. It's very traumatizing, but the modus operandi is very clear. The modus operandi is to pick up one gullible member of the family, of a Hindu family. Once that person falls into the trap, then you can be rest assured that the whole family gets converted. So let me give you an example of what happens once one member of the family is converted. One member in the family will be able to identify issues in the family and give reasons that because this family is not a Christian, that is the reason all these problems have come. Today we know very well, every family has problems. Financial problems, sickness problems, any kind of problems. And all these problems have a solution. The only solution is to convert. But the saddest thing is this: after conversion, nobody talks about all these problems. They live with the problem. Because there is another quote in the Bible which says that you have eternal life. Forget the current life, forget the present life. The present life is to endure sickness, endure poverty. So what was a problem earlier, there was a solution, which is conversion. And later on, the whole solution is forgotten because the whole family has got converted. The final agenda of the conversion mania has been achieved. The family is converted, job done. The next thing is, what does this family do? This family starts talking to other family members, relatives, friends, about what and all happens once you become a Christian.
Sanjay is constantly trying to save his next generation from the terrible and human tragedy of conversion. He is fighting a lone battle where his own people, his family, his friends are standing against him. The civil society, which talks about human rights day in and day out, is surprisingly silent on the abuse of the most fundamental human rights of Sanjay. The inhuman and cruel act of conversion is cleverly presented as the exact opposite under the cover of freedom of religion. And thus, the innocent tribals are wickedly thrown in the fire of Abrahamic religions. It is true that someone who has suffered the tragedy of conversion only knows what a mental and emotional trauma conversion is.
My own personal, if I have to narrate my story or my ancestor's story, we were originally Gaud Saraswat Brahmins, migrated from Goa. Mostly Kamat, Prabhu, Shanai, Nayak, etc. were our surnames earlier. We were converted, our ancestors were converted by Portuguese in Goa, and after conversion they had to face terrible, they were converted on pressure, on the force of sword. But even after conversion, they were made to humiliated and undergo so much of violence under Inquisition. They had to leave the place, they had to flee from Goa to southern state like Karnataka, coastal Karnataka and even Kerala. So my ancestors have faced terrible violence to embrace the love of Christ. So love of Christ did not come to them through love, it came to them through terrible violence. See, we had some practices. Like Hindu practice are take bath in the morning. For us, taking bath in the morning is a very big offense. We Mangalorean Christians cannot take bath in the morning. It is a punishable offense. We have to take bath in the evening. It may sound very simple, but it's a very symbolic that this is a Hindu practice. You should not do it. A tulsi plant around here, anywhere around your house is a offense. Our cultures, very Konkani cultures, like see, we have how you welcome a guest at house, whether one guest or when you have a program at function at home. Every guest should be welcomed with pan and supari. That's our culture. Pan, supari and water should be offered. That is the best way of welcoming a person. This was banned by the church under Portuguese rule.
The game of conversion plays with human emotions on many levels. Sometimes it is so subtle that not even its victims can understand it. Neither family nor friends. By the time it's clear what it is, it's far too late.
Chari ori firili yaha kelne gawo gomelo yahal dhelo dabe gomelo deve ya mogra. Ye ek tribal song.
This is a tribal song. The song tells the story of our God here. My very close friend Shirish used to sing this song very beautifully. But now he doesn't sing it anymore. Things have changed. A mishap occurred in his life that he no longer sings this song today. We both used to study in Pune. I was an MBBS student and he was a BAMS student. When we were studying in college, there was a lot of bonding in the first 2 years, as happens in college life. Life was passing by normally. Then a girl came into his life. She was a Christian. He would always say, she is a Christian, I am a Hindu, she has no problem, I have no problem. Then what is the harm in getting married? But later, when the application was submitted to the court to seek permission for marriage, some situations arose that we could not stop. From there onwards, it was a lost cause. So this girl's father was a pastor. One day the girl came to Shirish and said, "Look, Shirish, we may have submitted the marriage application in the court, but my father is a pastor. What will the society say? What respect will be left for him in the Christian community if I get married to a Hindu guy? He is in a very key position." Then we all made a decision. If religion is creating a problem, it is wise to break up. But after a few months, Shirish and I met. When he told me that the girl's family was finally ready for their marriage. However, a few days later, I learned that Shirish had converted to Christianity. And the girl's father approved of their marriage only after Shirish's conversion to Christianity. After that, I never saw Shirish sing that song again. I often desired to listen to that song by him, but I don't think I will ever get that chance again. The conversion took my friend Shirish away from his forefathers, his customs and traditions, separated him from his parents, from his village, his religion, and ultimately from his God. The pain of conversion can only be felt by someone who has been deserted by a dear one because of religious conversion. I have felt something slipping out of my hands. In the fight over religions, I have seen emotions being used as a weapon. My friend Shirish is gone right before my eyes. He has left forever.
Conversion does not just destroy individuals or families, but it also ruins entire villages by destroying their religious and social fabric, once and for all. This is a village of Nandurbar district. For thousands of years, they have been worshipping the tamaria tree as a deity. Worshipping nature has always been a core aspect of Hindu tribal culture. The villagers call it Tamaria Deva. But in the last few years, a huge population of the village converted to Christianity. The entire village became a battleground for the two hostile camps.
आमच्या एरियात टेमऱ्यादेव म्हणून एक देवस्थान आहे.
There is a temple of Temaria Dev in our area. In the past, our ancestors used to worship at that place, but since the Christian population has increased in the village, people have stopped gathering there. They do not worship Temaria Dev anymore. The atmosphere of the village is so edgy and tense these days because of this. People have stopped coming there, and they do not even help each other anymore. They refuse to accept prasad, saying that this is the offering of the devil. They have stopped accepting anything related to Hindu worship. It has badly affected the social fabric of the village. There was a time when we friends used to play together, but now since some of them have become Christians, they do not socialize with us anymore. The atmosphere in the village is no longer the same.
The worst effects of conversion are engraved on the young minds. The very worldview, attitude and actions of converted individuals and family changes overnight. Through the prism of the new religion of Christianity, they only see evil and bad in their old religion.
मी We have been worshipping Temariya Dev since childhood, but some of my friends do not come there with me anymore because they no longer believe in this god. They say that Temariya Dev is a devil, and if they pray to him, they will go to hell. And therefore, now they don't come with us. They even refuse to come to the local fair. As kids, we all used to play and live together, but now we neither live together nor play together. They have started to believe in Jesus, and their new religion has come now between our friendship. Perhaps our friendship is over forever.
When Christianity came into Germany, they were also connected tribals, no? So they worshipped trees, they had their gods, and Christianity just cut it off. They cut this very famous tree in Germany and said, look, nothing happened. Your God is powerless.
The Temariya tree is also in danger. It is safe only until the Christians do not become the majority in the village. Once that happens, and the demography tips into the favor of Christianity, this tree will also be uprooted mercilessly, and the rest of the tribals will be forced to give in to conversion, and the missionary will proudly say, "Look how weak and powerless your God was." Conversion does not happen without sowing the seeds of hatred. The converted person is made to hate everything about their old religion. He is constantly fed that his new religion is the only true religion. His new God is the only true God, and everything else is false and demonic. When these crops of hatred bloom, events like Palghar are bound to happen.
Gadchinchle is the village in Palghar district where sadhus were murdered last year. I was left shocked and saddened by this incident because the tribal society was made responsible for it. I couldn't believe that our innocent tribal people could kill two sadhus and their driver with such cruelty. But in the last few years, tribal people have been lured by the prayers of the Christian religion in churches in the name of education, health, and employment. Since tribal society is poor in this area, they get trapped easily by livelihood opportunities. Missionaries established lies like, though tribal culture looks like that of Hindus, tribal people are not Hindus. In their prayers, tribal people are incited to turn against the Hindus. The innocent and gullible tribals burdened with favors of missionaries are easily manipulated to believe that they are not Hindus, or that the deities of the tribals are different, or that the deity of the tribals is Ravana. About half of the houses in Gadchinchle village are owned by tribals who have been converted by Christian missionaries, which is why a lot of misunderstandings are breeding among the people here, especially the youth or their families. It is hard to believe that Adivasis turn violent on seeing saffron-clothed saints and attack them in such a cruel manner, because a simple, naive Adivasi would never do something like that. But if misunderstandings are planted in their minds by Christian missionaries, then a poisonous environment is likely to breed. Conversion drives are going on in full swing in many nearby villages. These activities need to be stopped immediately, and the tribals have to be saved from such malicious temptations.
The tribals who see the divine in every speck of dust cannot imagine how the different ways of worshipping and the diverse ways of gods can cause hostility among the people. But a converted Christian has a strong religious motive behind his hatred for other ways of worship and gods.
I will quote a verse from the Bible which is very important for people to know. It says, again from Matthew, it says, "Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the world. No, I did not come to bring peace but a sword. I came to set sons against their fathers, daughters against their mothers, daughter-in-laws against their mother-in-laws. A man's worst enemy will be the members of his own family. Imagine this is the kind of verse that is there in the Bible and which is quoted when a missionary comes to a person who has to be converted. Normally, after the conversion experience happens, when a person falls into the trap of conversion, he is being tutored and he's been trained to do conversion in his house, because conversion starts in the house. And then the person goes and talks about the new religion, what he has found. And when he faces trouble there at home, he goes back to his pastors and says that, look, I have trouble at home. This is the verse that is quoted, saying that it is told very clearly in the Bible. If Jesus has himself told it, what is stopping you from doing it?
This land of Bharatvarsha has always assimilated everyone who came and settled here. But it is so strange that why is it not happening with Christianity and other Abrahamic religions? What is it in the heart of Christianity which makes it incompatible to coexist with everyone else?
The uniqueness of Indian civilization is that it is remarkable for its continuity, its diversity and complexity, and above all, the lack of uniformity. There has never been in our tradition a desire to uniformly impose something on any part of the country or in any section of the nation. And these religious traditions of India, whether they are at village level, in the jungle, even there are many tribes, so there are many different gods and many different divinities, many different customs. They all coexist peacefully. We will classify them under the generic term Sanatan Dharma, which has now widened to encompass all native-born traditions of this country. And the Sanatan Dharma is famous for this ability to adapt and to live with the great efflorescence of its traditions from the millennia without a problem. At some stage, some monotheistic traditions entered the country, and their inhabitants, their adherents, they settled down here. And Sanatan Dharma, Sanatanists, nobody had a problem. The sad thing is that it is the monotheistic traditions, especially I would mention Christianity, because it was the latest and it talks the most about tolerance and is actually the most intolerant. They decided that we should not exist, and the native traditions of India, they should be eradicated, the cultures, the customs, everything should go, and it is their tradition that should come on top.
The conquest to bring down the whole world to one true God, one true religion, and one true book goes on. From individual to institutional level, the trap of conversion is multi-dimensional and multi-faced.
I can remember a typical sales pitch that happens when somebody is going to be converted. In a sales pitch, I remember in the corporate life, I have learned there are 3C theory. Convince, confuse, con the person. This exactly is the modus operandi that is used when a person is going to be converted. First, they will talk about Christianity. They will talk about all the ill things about Hinduism, and then they'll try to convince them. If he is not convinced, then they'll try to confuse them, saying that your religion is this, my religion is this, our religion is the only one which is to salvation. If still that does not happen, but the final thing is to con the person. Even to con the person, I think the best example I would give is help them get seats in schools, Christian schools, help them with financial aid. These are the methods that are used to somehow lure people, especially the poor and the tribal, into Christianity.
Christian missionaries have an image of those who do the charity all the time. Their schools, hospitals, old age homes, and orphanages are branded as charity institutions all over the world.
A person who wants to catch the fish, he uses a hook and he uses a earthworm. He puts an earthworm on the hook and throws into the river or pond, whatever it is. When he throws 10 times, some 2 to 3 times he gets a fish into the hook and he gets that fish. From 6 to 7 times, the fishes in the pond eat that food and go away. So this 6 to 7 fishes, can you claim that I have fed the fishes, I have done a great service to the fishes by feeding them? The service model of the church is of this kind. So out of this 10, only 30% is conversion and 70% is seva. This is your claim, no?
Bharat Urade and his wife also fell victim to this so-called Christian charity and thus Christian conversion.
My wife was ill for a long time. One day, when I was on my way to work, I met a friend of mine. He advised me to visit a center with him if my wife's condition is not improving. I thought for a day or two. After that, I took my wife there. There was a hall full of people where we were made to sit in queues. There were dholaks playing and songs being sung. As the song stopped, they asked me to take the oil. When I asked why, they told me that this oil would do magic and that it should be applied over my wife's entire body.
There they teach us not to wear bangles or thread or put bindi and kumkum or tie gajra in our hair, and we have to obey them.
Many days went by like this, but there was no improvement in my wife's condition. After that, they gave us water. When I asked what to do with this water, they told me to sprinkle a little, drink a little, and apply a little. I did this for several months. Days passed. Visits became frequent. I ran out of money for rent, but somehow I managed. I used to take my wife on a bicycle, and after that, I would go to work. When her health condition still did not improve, I asked Father, what should I do now? The Father then said that I have to take an oath. I asked, what kind of oath? He took us to a nearby place. There was a pond. After that, he placed his hand on our head and asked us to repeat that Hindu gods are devils and we won't worship them anymore. He made us dip thrice while repeating Hindu gods are devils and we will not worship them. After that, he instructed us to worship only Jesus from now on and to remove, immerse or burn all the pictures and idols of Hindu deities from our house. We were in a dilemma. What to do now? But we had no choice left. We received a picture of Jesus and thread from them. We placed the photo and thread to worship Jesus, after which they told us how to use the oil. They drew the cross mark with oil and water on our foreheads before giving the oil to us. With no choice left, I accepted it. Days passed and a year went by like this. My wife's condition was more or less the same. One more year passed, and after 2 long years of doing all of this, I started rethinking because the disease was yet not cured.
The charity Christians do, they do it with a purpose, and it's mainly in hospitals and in health and in education. You know, the Christian missionaries, they are sometimes very jovial, they will talk nicely, they will take interest in your problems, but they demand, they extract something from you. And this is that you have to believe something which is unbelievable.
At first, missionaries used to come around 10 or 11 at night and would leave us with Bible and other such religious books. They would tell us that they can cure the sickness. They provide education and jobs to the needy. My daughter keeps falling sick all the time, so I thought I should take her there once. But later, they told me that the treatment is only available for those who accept their faith. They said that you have to discard all the pictures of your deities. You are not allowed to worship any other god or eat any prasad offerings. Our religion is Christianity and we only believe in Jesus.
Today, the church is interested in building hospitals, in building schools, in building community centers, in villages. And when will a religion build something like this in a particular geography? When it wants to serve its community. But I have had living examples where there are no Christians at all, but these institutions plant these schools, plant these hospitals, plant these community centers. What is the idea? The idea is very clear. Investment for the next 50 years, investment for the next 100 years. Because these institutions are nothing but hubs of conversion. People come flocking to these places, asking for discount, asking for help. And these institutions, yes, they serve. But in exchange, what do they get? Souls. They harvest souls. So very clear, the modus operandi is to plant these institutions in non-Christian belts and harvest souls after 50 years or maybe 100 years.
Raoji Vamanchore is a farmer and he wanted to educate his son to make him a worthy person. But the price he was asked by the Christian school was unimaginable to him.
The incident that I am narrating happened with my own children in the year 2012-13. My boy secured a place in the missionary school of Nandurbar district through a government scheme. This incident took place in the same missionary school. The missionary school is a religious institution and I am a Hindu. They used to call our children for Christian prayer every day. On Christmas, they would take them to the church. Many such incidents happened with these children. My kids used to tell me about prayer and other things after returning from school. I started to feel something was off about the problems my children were facing. I tried so hard to let it go, but one day I couldn't bear it any longer. When the parents complained about this, they started troubling the children and questioned why their parents were complaining about the school. We told them that we send children here to study. Why are you forcing them to say the prayers of Jesus? Why are you bothering kids if they do not wish to pray? Such incidents began to occur frequently with these children. I was aware, so I moved them from that school, but many parents couldn't. Today, their culture is at the risk of coming to an end. And many of them have already become Christians.
As per the Bible, they say that they want to ensure that every word is spoken to every member in and around they come in your contact. It could be a doctor, it could be a teacher, it could be a lawyer, it could be anybody who comes in touch with you. Somewhere they will insert this philosophy of Christianity into you.
I am a student at nursing college. Soon after I took admission to the nursing college, I realized that we had been cheated. We belong to tribal society and they asked us to convert to Christianity. We were not ready for this. They kept forcing us to convert to Christianity. Madam used to take me to the church. When the college started, we requested Madam to focus on the academics, but she was too headstrong to care. She said that you have to accept the religion first. I also hail from the same tribal society as you do. So you too must adopt this religion. That is how Madam kept persuading me. Every Sunday, she would take us to the church. We are poor farmers. I know how difficult it was for my parents to pay for my education by farming. But Madam cheated us. They did not return our money and my studies were also ruined. She used to take us to the church and ask me to convert to Christianity even during the lectures.
I was once in Mussoorie. There's a Hindi language school, which is quite well known. And I was staying in a hotel where some foreigners stayed who went to this language school. So we started talking and I said, why do you want to learn Hindi? He said, oh, we have a project in Chhattisgarh. So it meant that they would go to tribal areas and convert. And this is so painful because the tribals are connected with, they are very good natured. They will not suspect anyone who comes with being friendly.
Conversion not only creates hostility among individuals or families, but becomes a serious threat to a nation's sovereignty.
So in the present political circumstances, unlike during the British rule or the Portuguese rule, in this democratic system, using force is not possible. So the strategy has changed, the methodology has changed. Now it is no more a force, but by inducement. This religious conversion may look very simple and very small to some people, but what it leads to ultimately is it is a threat to the national security. Yes, with all responsibility, I am saying it leads to threat to national security and disintegration of the national unity. The very example I could say is, see, in the most tribal areas, dominant tribal areas of this country, the Naxalism is very rampant. And who is funding the Naxalism? It is the church, directly or indirectly funding and encouraging. All the logistics is supported by the church to the Naxals. And this leads to the very security threat. In one side, there is amusement to convert. Otherwise, there is threat from the Naxals. In such a situation, the tribals are caught.
It has affected multiple countries. Look at the whole of Africa. Look at the whole of Europe. Look at the whole of Central America. All these countries were given service where these poor people were offered some kind of a dole system, offered food, basic clothing, and in turn they only asked what? They only asked them to convert. But do we know what happened? The whole sovereignty of the nation was surrendered to these people. So the simple answer to a question of what is it that these people, evangelicals, ask is to submit themselves to these people. And when he said submission, it means giving complete control to them. Jomo Kenyatta has made a very beautiful comment which many subsequent African presidents have quoted. What did Jomo Kenyatta say? He said the missionaries came to our land. They said, let's pray. They said, give everybody a Bible. Let's close our eyes and pray. We closed our eyes and the missionaries also closed our eyes. But when we opened our eyes, we had only the Bible in our hand and our lands were gone. The missionaries had taken it. So what happened in Australia, where the Aboriginals disappeared? What happened in Africa, where the Africans became slaves all their lives? I won't be surprised if it happens to India.
The change of religion is not just simply changing the method of worship. As Swami Vivekananda said, change in faith is change in culture and nationhood. A recent example is Indonesia, where the world's newest country, East Timor, came into existence. And the only reason for its formation was that 97% of the population in the 20th century were already converted by the Catholic missionaries. Otherwise, there was no historic rationale for it to become a separate country. And how well it all aligns with the Western powers can be so understood that in the UN and in all the international forums, East Timor was quickly recognized and got a warm welcome. And surprisingly, it was applauded by the entire Western world.
Conversion is a crime against humanity, which has never been called out so. This crime was kept under wraps because the imperialistic political powers formulated their religions as the shortest and easiest way to conquer the world. The wails of the converted people, the travails of the converted family, the destruction of the converted village, and the degeneration of the converted country is as true as the sun rising in the east. Born in the northeast of our country, Professor Fermi Bodo has witnessed the continued destruction of her culture and identity through religious conversion ever since she was born. She makes a heart-rending appeal to humanity.
That the conversion is inhuman and there should not be any debate on that, as we don't debate about rape, whether rape should happens or not, or there is a positive side or negative side of committing a murder. So I would say that conversion is inhuman, it's anti-cultural, and it's taking out people's dignified life. And there should not be any debate on that because it is happening, it is taking out humans' dignified life.
Vilas is still waiting for his sister to return. Sanjay is fighting battles to save his next generation from conversion every single day. Dr. Vishal wants to listen to Dev Mogra Mata from his friend Shirish once again. Tamaria Deva is in dismay and awaits the return of his devotees who converted to Christianity. The saints lynched in Palghar want to see Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha become a reality. Bharat wants to believe once again that a religion never weaponizes noble acts of service for conversion. Rauji and Parvati want the schools and colleges to meet their end, which trade souls in exchange of education. Kalpana wants to see a beautiful world where a mother doesn't have to convert to Christianity to save the life of her child. There are thousands of stories which have never been told, millions of unheard cries. This darkness can be defeated. The suffering of millions can end. Our dream of a beautiful world can be realized if humanity can unanimously roar that conversion is the greatest violence ever done to humanity.